the size. I'm going to the str in then already declare the pointer, the character type pointer. So here just taking that particular pointer variable. So I'm then so here I'm going to use this malloc function that we already have seen here. So the syntax for malloc function is the pointer, whatever it may be, say integer type or anything, whatever it may be, pointer, and then the typecast here, because this we have to typecast with this integer type, like uh, what are the return type that they are mentioning. Based upon that, we're going to mention it here as well. And then the malloc function, and then number of values into size of integer. So it's not about integer, like what are the data type that we are mentioning. Based upon the data type, we're going to mention it here. That's it, nothing else. Uh, and everything has done, and then we just mentioning the integer. It's nothing typecast, nothing but we are converting from different data type to integer type. That's it. So because this malloc function going to return their pointer, so that we actually going to convert into its integer types. That's what we're actually doing here. Character type pointer. We're just converting into character type pointer. That's it here. Size into size of character. So we have to mention this size of character here, and then now here I'm going to mention str is not equals to null, and then here, so here like the till str is not equal to null. So here the size is nothing more, is already we have mentioned the size, so that's what I actually mentioned here. Size into size of is a operator that we already explored in our beginning of the class itself. And then we are just we are just getting the size of character type, and then we're just multiplying it, so that we can do allocate this particular memory based upon the size of the character into the size of what are we actually taking. Because and each data type takes like different types of memory size, right? So character take 1 byte and integer take 2 bytes. This is depends upon the compiler to compiler again. So based upon the compiler, it again going to be depends for regarding this size also. I think this particular uh, this code blocks editor will take, I guess, around 4 bytes for integer. Character, I think 1 byte, I guess. So based upon the compiler again, you can actually we actually discuss these things in a beginning of the class. So if you haven't checked that video, please do check that video and then come back here. So here, if string is not equals to null, and then here the printf function, and then here I'm going to ask user to enter some text here. And then here again, we have to mention scanf before this buffering thing. So that's what I'm doing. Input text by allocating memory using malloc function, s, and then calculation, and then string. That's what I have done. So because till is not equal to null, we're going to pick all the allocation of the memory that is part of the array. It's nothing but an array. That actually, yeah, I'm going to show how it actually works by looking the picture. Once after that we're done with this particular example, so that you can actually understand more better. So here, once after everything is done, so the thing is here, what you have to do is one thing. As I said here, when it comes to static and dynamic, static memory allocation, everything will be done by the compiler itself. We don't need to do anything. But when it comes to dynamic, we have to do by using these functions, the inbuilt functions, whatever we have it. Um, I think we're done. And even deallocation also. When it comes to static, that also going to be done by the compiler. But when it comes to dynamic, we have to do by ourselves. So for that, we have one more function that is free. So we have to delete that public memory, whatever we have allocated. Once everything is executed, and once we got the output, even we are printing it output. Once everything is done, I'm just freeing up. Means free is nothing but deleting. We are freezing this memory. That's it. Nothing else. So after everything is done, we're just deleting it out. So now here is freeing the memory, and then once after this, now I'm going to allocate a memory again, the character type. So here, okay, let's actually print it out up to here, and then maybe we'll do in the next CLK thing, maybe month after this thing. Okay, so enter. It's asking me to enter a limit here. So this is the text we got it out. That's it. So the same thing we have done as we already discussed in our static memory allocation. The same thing we have done, but using the dynamic memory allocation. So this is what happened here for writing a dynamic memory allocation. This is what the code you have to write, but not exactly this code. Maybe I have approached it in this way. Like you may also approach in different way. That is up to you. So it's based upon the logic how you're thinking. That's it. So this is what looks like. So now let's move to the CLOG. So we already deleted the memory, the string type memory. We already deleted once after printing it out. So we can actually reuse it again. So we don't need to worry about it. So because we have like already declared it, so we can actually reuse it again. We only deleted this particular memory, whatever is allocated using the malloc function. So we can actually reuse it again. So because here itself we are deleting it, so we can reuse it again. Again here, the character type pointer, and then CLOC, and then here size of, and then the character. This syntax something different here. Let's actually move to here. Yeah, this is what the number of data items that you have to mention. Then the size of the same thing. But when it comes to here, the number of values we have to mention. But here, when it comes to here, number of data items you have to mention. That's it. Nothing else. So that is what the number of values in the sense we already mentioned the size, and when it comes to number of data items, we are going to mention like I'm going to mention uh, around 50 data items. Mhm. So and then here, now here, once after we done with this thing, and then now here, here I'm going to mention again the same thing like the almost the same thing. Let's get this thing. Yeah, like it's also exactly I mean almost the same thing. The difference is here we are actually doing with the number of data items, and here is we're actually doing the number of value, and the syntax the difference. That's it. Nothing else. I mean, almost the same thing. And here we're actually going to uh, we're going to ask the user to enter some of the text, and then the same thing, and then the string, and we're going to read and put a stack allocating memory using this CLF. That what we are doing. CLF function is that's it, nothing else. And then now once after everything is done, here I'm going to use one more function that we have it that is realloc. So realloc in the sense if you want to reallocate the memory again, if you want to reallocate the memory for previously allocated using malloc or cloc, whatever function you have already, and then if you want to add again this the size, if you want to increase the size again, then you can use this particular syntax, and then you can reallocate the function by using a reallocate function, and then using this, following this particular syntax, and then you can follow it. That's it, nothing else. So here I'm going to ask the again user to enter the new new size. And here, and then here I'm going to mention this scanf function here. Scanf function percentage d, and then I'm going to mention this ampersand, and then resize you, and then string equals to realloc realloc, and then str comma, and then resize asterisk, and then size of character. And then here I'm going to print this particular thing. Memory is successfully reallow reallocated by using realloc function. That's it. So once after finishing this particular thing, I'm just mentioning this particular thing. That's it. I'm just printing it out so that you can actually understand when we actually run this particular code whether it's actually working or not. So that's the reason I'm just printing it something. That's it. So this is syntax that we already looked into it. This realloc, and then string. So whatever the pointer type that you want to mention, this is what I have mentioned here, and then the resize into the resize, what are the size you want to mention into, and then size of character, again the size of character. By just getting the size of character. That's it. And then once after everything is done, um, now here we're going to look into it, like one more thing that we actually, once after reallocating, let's actually do one more inputs, taking the input and then doing something. So here under some text, and then there's get functions, and then input it text by using allocating, uh, by reallocating memory using realloc function. Realloc is percentages, and then str. That's it. Once after everything is done, so here what we have to do, once after everything is done, we should always deallocate memory, deallocate or delete the memory, everything. Yes, but usually we call it as a deallocation memory in this particular C language. So here, once after everything is done, and then the pointer also be going to point to null. So usually before itself we have been pointing to null, right? So finally also we are going to pointing as null, and then we actually deleting the memory before itself. You have to delete and then allocate it as null, or else if you do it as a null and then if you delete it, then it no longer cannot be deleted, because the pointer we are just making as null. After making it as null, if you try to delete it, it won't be deleted at all, because the pointer is not pointing to any of the array, right? It's not pointing to anything. So how can you delete it again? So that's what you have. First, you have to delete what are the pointer is pointing to, and then you just make it as null point. That's it. So now let's run this particular code, and then let's see the output. So it's asking me to enter the limit of the first one, I guess. Mm, so let actually uh, let actually make it as something like 10. So this is malloc function. This is malloc, for the malloc function. We got it out by this is, and then again it asking me to enter some text again uh, for cloc. So now again we are asking for cloc. Manohar, that's what we got it for scale-up function. And then now for reallocating memory, for reallocation of memory, again it asks me to enter a new size. That's going to be enter like 20 again. So memory successfully reallocated by using a realloc function. Now it asking me to enter some text here. Now inputted text using realloc function. This is that's what we got it in our output screen. So this is nothing but this static and dynamic memory allocation. So let's actually explore more on this dynamic memory allocation by using the pictures that what we haven't explored before. So here, yeah, now let's actually explore. So here, this is what actually this is the most important that you have to think about it. So whenever you actually when it comes to here, let's actually explore this thing. So character string is called null. So whenever this particular line triggers, it's actually going to allocate a memory inside the stack. So firstly, it's going to allocate a memory inside the stack. This is like, for example, here we are actually using a p pointer p, but when it comes to our example, we have been using str. So you can assume str only. So str, okay, and then we just allocating some memory. Whether it may be first initially we just making null, and again we're taking input, and then we are just making anything inside. So it's just going to be allocating memory, like the size of the pointer is going to find or something. So once after everything is done, like sorry, it's not like it's not everything is going to be done, and then this finder is nothing but address. So, sorry, no, it's not a size; it's an address. What are we mentioning in particular size that are actually going to point to this particular heap memory, and then it's going to create an array of that particular size. What are the sizes that we are mentioning here? Everything going to be allocated inside the heap memory, and then it's going to allocate a array of that particular size. And each array has each index of the uh, particular address, right? So that's what we actually explore when we actually talk about arrays concept. And each index has a different address. So this pointer p going to point to the first index of the particular array. So here the index of the particular array and this address is 500. So this particular address going to store inside this pointer. So always pointer variable always going to store the address of the another variable, isn't it? That's what we actually learned in our previous class. So here the same logic going to applies here as well. So it pointer p going to be point to the first element of this array, and then the element of address going to be stored inside this pointer p. The same logic going to applies here as well. This string only going to be allocated inside the stack, and then this whenever we call this particular malloc function, this array going to be create inside the heap memory, and this particular string going to point this particular array, the first index of the array that we're going to point in here. That's what going to happen here, and then this is what actually happens. That's what I want to show here for my background only. So once after everything is done, whenever this particular free the function, if you want to release the memory, if you're not in use this function. That's what we have to do. If you don't want to pointer to point to an array, then we should write this. That's it. Once after deleting it, it's no longer available, right? You just point it to null. That's it. So this is what once after you deallocating in the memory in the heap, below image is going to be illustrate for deallocation. So after after you freezing after using this free function, this particular free function, it's going to delete this particular array, and once after you use the string is equal to null, then this particular going to be this particular pointer pointing to this is also going to be deleted, and it's no longer going to point to any of this particular thing, and even this final also not going to be, because once after you deleting it, there is no address and there is no pointer anything. That's what actually happens, and this is what example that we already look into it. So this is what about static and dynamic memory allocation. If you have any doubts, then please put it in the comment below. I'll just answer your doubts, and also have a look into this article so that you can actually understand. You can also better understand what we actually talk about till now. And this is nothing but notes for you, I can say. This article which was I was written by this article was written by myself. So you can have a look into it. This article. Um, that's it, guys. So thank you for watching, and thank you for watching. If you like my work, please do like, share, and subscribe to Co Focus. And if you have any doubts, please mention it in the comment box. I'll try to answer those.